Good afternoon, and welcome to Expose Yourself to Art, a show that looks at the creative process and how it is expressed in various ways throughout our community. My name is David Schrader, and with me, as always, is my lovely co host, Linda Scheller. Hi, Linda.
Hi, David.
Hey, good to see you. It's a nice day today.
Very nice.
I saw you earlier today, and you were carrying this large package case. How's
Uh-huh.
your cello lessons going?
They're
Tell me
coming
about
along pretty well. Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm amazed and rather pleased that it's only been since January and sounds a lot better. So I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
Can't wait to hear sometime. So now,
Yeah.
where did this come from? All of a sudden, at this point in your life, you decided to take cello lessons.
Well, um, someone recommended that I interview Ann Martin, and you may know she teaches at MJC. She conducts the community orchestra, and so I interviewed her on the Arts of the San Joaquin Valley program, the KCBP community radio show, one of two that I host. And so I mentioned, I love the cello. She says, well, why don't you sign up for a class? And I said, well, how would I get an instrument? Rent one? And she said, I wrote a grant and I have a bunch of cellos and you can just borrow one for free. So I thought, well, here we are locked in. It's a pandemic. Why not? So I registered and we've been taking lessons via Zoom. And it's just been such fun. It's really nice to learn something completely different. And, you're never too old. I'm living proof to learn something new.
That's great. Like I say, someday I hope to hear a little bit. So it's time to take a look at what's going on in our community, artistic wise. So what do we have
Mhm.
on? What do we have coming up here?
Conversations with the Curator, an inside look at Making Your Mark exhibition at the Carnegie Center for the Arts, will take place in person on Friday, November 5th at 6:30 p.m. Director and curator Lisa McDermott will walk us through the current thought process of organizing and installing this exciting collection of prints, drawings, and photographs by modern masters. Well, that sounds interesting.
It sure does. So, a reggae dance party with Honey Bee and oh my gosh, am I gonna mess up this name?
À la lune?
A la Luna. Okay, Saturday, November 6th and 7th, November 6th at 7 p.m. Presented by Sundays at CBS. Honey Bee is a California artist with a positive approach and a Caribbean twist. There will be a no-host bar and vegan food available for purchase. My gosh. Tickets can be found at cbsmodesto.org/concert-series.
The Modesto Stanislaus Poetry Center features poets Cristina Sandoval and Manny Moreno for the November installment of Second Tuesday Poetry. Join us to hear these two poets read for us as first-time featured poets on Tuesday, November 9th at 7 p.m. on Google Meet. Hosted by Stella Baratlis with open mic following the featured readers. Get the link and more information at mostpoetry.org.
Okay, at the Prospect Theater, The Humans by Stephen, was it Karam?
Karam.
Yeah. Are you part of that, Linda?
Well, I'm volunteering there, so I may be taking,
Okay, I
tickets
didn't know
or
if you were
selling
in the
beverages.
cast or
I'm
something.
not in the
Okay.
cast, no.
Okay. Anyway, breaking with tradition. Eric Blake has brought his Pennsylvania family to celebrate Thanksgiving at his daughter's apartment in Lower Manhattan. As darkness falls outside, Blake clan's deepest fears and greatest follies are laid bare. Woo-hoo. November 12th through the 21st at Prospect Theater. Tickets at prospect.vbottickets.com.
Yeah, VBO
That's,
tickets.
Yeah, okay, deal. Tongue-tied today. So
For kids, Lightbox Theater Company presents The Totally Believable Adventures of Timey-Wimey Hermes the God, where Greek god Hermes becomes a Nintendo Switch thief. Friday, November 12th through Sunday, November 21st at 2 p.m. at Carnegie Arts Center, Turlock. Tickets at lightbox4youth.org.
okay, it's time to bring on our guest today, Caroline Nichols from Modesto Symphony Orchestra, the CEO. The big
Hi.
cheese. Hi there. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Linda.
So, as we talked a little bit beforehand, I said, in my recollection of things, you've been with MSO for quite a while. How far back does that go? When you joined?
Well, yeah, that goes back to 2007. We were at Modesto Symphony. We were having a season of playing in a variety of high schools and getting ready to become a resident company of the Gallup Center for the Arts.
Ah, okay. And your background. You've told me, you said we came on here. No, I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist, but you are in the music business. I mean, big time. So how did you get here?
Sure. Well, so I grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And in our family, we were required to play a musical instrument. So that was just standard procedure in our home. And I played piano. I took piano lessons for 10 years and had to do the piano exams and all that, Royal Conservatory of Music. And I did enjoy piano, but certainly I'm not one anybody else would want to listen to. Let me just put it that way. I always say the Modesto Symphony didn't hire me for my musical talent, but and then I did sing in a chorus as a child, and through high school I was in the high school chorus, and so I've always had a great joy in music, and I love live performance. Ever since I was a kid, we used to go to the theater and opera and operettas, and just enjoyed all of that, and went on to university and got my business degree. But I always loved the arts and thought I would love to work in the arts themselves, in the administration, so be an arts administrator. So that was, sort of my goal, whether it be mostly performing arts, but even visual arts. I volunteered at the local art gallery. I was a subscriber to the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. So just something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, so as you said, they didn't hire you for your musical talent, but
No.
Obviously for your business acumen. So glad you're there. So anyway, as we've talked to other groups and other people on this show, one of the major questions has always come up is, what happened to MSO during the pandemic? I mean, it had to have taken a big hit. I mean, all the performing arts groups basically got shut down. What was that like for MSO?
Right. Well, it's nice to say that we're on the other side of the dark tunnel right now, but it certainly was very scary. Our last concert was in March of 2020, and it was right when other orchestras were starting to shut down, and we managed to have one last concert and managed to have our education concerts. And then after that, you're just concerned about when are you going to have your next concert, and you're always thinking about how you can prepare for the future but address the now. And sadly, our musicians bore the brunt of it, because now they no longer had an opportunity to perform for an audience. And so we tightened our belts, and our staff worked from home, and we made a decision at a certain point that we really wanted to make sure that we were still there for our community. And there's all this information about how to do live streams and how to still have a concert and air that concert. And we thought, well, what could we do that would be interesting? And we want to connect our community, people who know and love Modesto Symphony, with the organization, and give them something that was enriching and gave them something that would bring them joy in their life. And so we made a commitment to doing one live stream a month, and with the staff, and we just started on that path. And if the first one was a little bumpy, and then we kept going from there, and we slowly put together a live stream once a month, and we made sure it was free for everyone, because we just really want to give our community and everybody something, because everyone was shuttered at home. So
Yes.
it was rough, but we stayed very focused, and our board was excellent in helping us to make sure that we could carry on.
Right. And as I understand that one of the biggest hits was that this past year was your 90th year, MSO's 90th year. That happened during the pandemic, and you were planning a big celebration that you couldn't do at that time.
Right. And that was something that we felt, badly about, is that this is quite a marker in the history of this organization to make it to 90 years. And we wanted to do something really special. So rather, we decided we were going to have to do something online again, and do something that for the whole community. So we put together a video, and we engaged some of our musicians. We had people send in little statements about what the symphony meant to them, and thought we would share that with the community instead. Because, even during the pandemic, the community was very supportive. We had a lot of support from donors and sponsors who said, we'll do what we can to keep your doors ready to be opened again soon. So
yes, and I understand we have a video of that talking about the 90th year celebration. So why don't we can go to that now. Take a look at what 90 years of MSO looks like, sounds like. There we go.
Hello, my name is Ken Johnson. I am the chairman of the Modesto Symphony Orchestra Board of Directors. This year marks the 90th season of the Symphony Orchestra. We wish we could be celebrating this together. The symphony was founded by Frank Mancini, Malin Langstroth, and Leonard Fristrom in 1931. At the time, Modesto had a population of only 17,000. We immediately became the only city of its size to have its own symphony orchestra. 90 years of service to our community, providing music that lifts and engages our patrons, truly a source of community pride. On behalf of the entire symphony organization, thank you for your support in this incredibly challenging season. Through this pandemic, our community has never wavered in its love and support for the Modesto Symphony Orchestra. That is simply remarkable.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Kidwell, and I play violin for the Modesto Symphony Orchestra. I have been a member of the orchestra since before 1976, when Shandor Shalgo arrived and auditions were required of all players in the orchestra. We have missed all the musicians that we get to work with, and the exciting concerts that were planned for this season, and most especially, we miss you, our wonderful Modesto Symphony audience.
The thing that I miss most about not playing in Modesto is seeing the wonderful people that I've met over the years, and especially the person that I stay with, Betty Baird. Absolutely miss her so much. I also really miss Bob Sanders. And it's just a thrill to know that in the intermission, I can go and meet up with some of my Modestonian friends and see what they think about the concert, and to know that they're there in the audience makes it so special.
I think music is what makes us human, but it's not really a solitary endeavor. You can play by yourself but you're still in communion with the composer. You are communicating, you are a conduit for the composer to express into the next generation. It's a form of communication, and you, our audience, are a very necessary part of that.
There's something really special that happens when we all come together and perform and listen and appreciate, share our love for music. And to have people come to hear that, to hear what we have to present, so meaningful and so exciting.
I know it has been a really tough year for all of us, to say the very least, and I so appreciate your past, present, and I hope future support. That support will make it possible for the Modesto Symphony to return to the Gallo Center in the not-too-distant future.
Hello, I am Daniel Alfonso, the MSO Chorus Director. I've had the privilege of working with this ensemble since its very first season in 2001, the year when we celebrated the symphony's 70th anniversary. And so this season would have marked the 20th anniversary of the MSO Chorus. One of the most special memories I have of the chorus was our performance of Mendelssohn's oratorio Elijah exactly 10 years ago when we were celebrating our 80th season. I still remember the chorus' first rehearsal with the orchestra and the incredible energy backstage. What a wonderful experience that was. Sadly, this pandemic has kept us all from doing one of the things we really love to do, to sing. But I look forward to a very near future when we will be able to gather again and sing and play and perform and enjoy making music together. Then we will be able to really celebrate our 90th season and the 20th anniversary of the MSO Chorus.
I've been with the MSO since the fall of 2013, first as the music director of the youth orchestra and shortly after as the associate conductor of the MSO. There are many things that are special to me about the MSO, and I've really enjoyed getting to know our wonderful musicians and our dedicated and supportive audience. There is a real sense of community within the MSO, and it's always a wonderful place to make and share music. My last big performance with the MSO before COVID was Pixar in concert. It was such a fun and challenging concert with a very large orchestra, and I really had a wonderful time working with the musicians on that project and sharing it with a fantastic audience.
I have a really fond memory of playing the Mahler II Resurrection Symphony. There are some pieces that you just can't forget. This piece that had soloists and an orchestra and the chorus really was so meaningful. And I would love to send a message to the community of Modesto, to the people that support us. And I wrote a little poem called Gratitude, because really we are so grateful. Even we haven't had live performances, but you still are here. Gratitude. I have been given the gift. This gift is the love of another. Their love to me has created this space in my heart that is flooded with appreciation. It spills over onto whomever I meet. It is the ripple effect of kindness, and it fills me up with the desire to give as generously as I can. This is the gift of gratitude. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Caroline Nichols, President and CEO of the Modesto Symphony Orchestra. Thank you for helping us celebrate our 90th anniversary of our first concert, which was held on April 17th, 1931. Frank Mancini wanted this orchestra to be a cultural service to the community, and we still work to fulfill that mission today. We wish we could have celebrated this 90th season with you. This isn't quite how we envisioned a season, but we're glad that we're able to share some music via these live streams with you, and we can't wait to see you again. Thank you for supporting the Modesto Symphony, and here's to many more years of making music together.
Well, very nice. Thank you for
That was
sharing that with
wonderful.
us. Yeah, that really was. Maybe I just noticed something when we were watching that, Linda. when Daniel was talking, there was a smile on your face.
Oh,
I don't know if people know.
I love singing under his direction. He's just incomparable. I've learned so much from him, and it's joyous. Every Monday night is just the happiest night of the week.
So it isn't just you, but Linda Knoll, who works behind the scenes on this program, is also a member of the chorus. So, so Caroline, getting the community to participate, it seems like it's pretty successful. Gee, run into MSO people all the time. So the question for you, Caroline, is comes from some of the first words from your chairman of your board when he was describing the beginning of the organization, and how I think the statement was that the orchestra immediately became special in terms of having a symphony orchestra of this size and quality in a small community, and that made you special from the beginning, starting 90 years ago. And in my view, it still is special for the community this size. I don't know if you've thought about that or become aware of it, but that's kind of the impression that I've had of MSO.
Absolutely. We are so lucky. I think this community is immensely lucky. I know when I moved here, I was terribly impressed. And that's what drew me to the Modesto Symphony. We hear frequently from guest artists, and when they come here and they perform, they give us great compliments about several things. They love coming here because, first of all, they just are terribly impressed with the orchestra itself and the quality of our musicians and the conductor. And performing in the Gallo Center now with the wonderful acoustics. They've never, they sound great. They love to perform in a space that makes them sound the way they would like to be presented. But also the audience. I mean, a big part of why Modesto Symphony is 90 years is this community. And by that, I mean the large community of people that support it. So the audience loves the concerts. They respond. They respond to the musicians, and we have a lot of support wherever you go. Like you said, you bump into people. You could be in the chorus, you could be in the orchestra, you could work here, you could be a volunteer, past board member. Your kid might have been in our youth orchestra, and we have a lot of connections in this region, and we're very fortunate.
Caroline, could you talk a little bit about some of the precautions that both the orchestra and the chorus are taking as we move out into a more normal listening experience and performing experience?
Sure. So it was unfortunate that during COVID, we had to, shut down our concerts, and our chorus didn't meet and rehearse, as you know. But we were always very committed this entire time to keeping people safe and doing the right thing by our entire community. And so now, as we slowly kind of inch our way back onto stage with our chorus, we've been really cautious, and we've bought these special choral masks that the chorus can wear, and it allows you to open your jaw and wear a mask that will cover your mouth and give you a bit of space, and socially distance as we're rehearsing, and having a vaccine mandate, and doing things to make sure that our chorus members feel safe and comfortable being together and continuing to get to rehearse. And we're doing the same thing with our orchestra, because you can imagine there's 70 musicians on stage in a close proximity to each other, and they want to know, as they're out and about in our community, but also they go into other orchestras and other communities, that everybody is safe, and they want to, not just protect themselves, but keep our community safe. So, we've been very diligent with our measures. And even so far as for our next concert for the Holiday Pops, our chorus will be doing a video recording of themselves, and we will be screening that during the Holiday Pops concert, rather than bring in 100 chorus members on stage with 70 musicians on this tight space and bumping into each other back a house. And all of those kinds of extra precautions. So, we're doing everything we can to bring music back, but also to do it in a very safe way for everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Little phrase you dropped when you were talking a while ago, you talked about your youth orchestra. So what can you tell us about that?
We have this wonderful youth orchestra program, which has been going now for 45 years, and we have two divisions. And so in a typical year, we have over 100 students, usually about 120, in a concert orchestra and in a symphony orchestra. And so the concert orchestra is generally grades 5 through 9, and then the symphony orchestra is grades 9 through 12. And this just gives local students who love playing music and an extra activity. They're already involved in their school music programs, which are wonderful, but this just gives them even more opportunity to do something they love and play together in a large ensemble and give them that experience of playing an ensemble. Some of these kids go on and they have a career in music education, or even music performance, and it's really important to them. And so it's a really wonderful program that we put a lot of energy into and maintaining, and they get to have 3 concerts a year actually at the Gallo Center on stage, and it's so.
And you brought a video kind of explaining the whole process or the whole program for us. Maybe we can cue that up and take a look at that for more information. So, are we able to do that? There we go. Okay.
So classical music, I think, is a really important part of any community. And there have been tons of studies done that show that classical music and classical music education helps with math and other things at school, but it also helps people work together. It builds teamwork skills. It helps students learn how to deal with criticism and how to take criticism and improve. And it provides all of these tools that you need for any kind of job that you might have later in your life. So what we do here at the MSYO is provide this opportunity for students in our community, this opportunity to learn about this great music, but also to learn all these amazing skills that will eventually lead to them giving back to our community in a really important way.
So this is a unique opportunity for our young people to explore what is the symphonic repertoire and how to perform in an orchestra. The music programs in our area are more specific into like winds, brass, and percussion form the band at the school, where the string players are in quotes orchestra, but MSYO provides what we call a full symphony orchestra experience, which includes all of these facets: percussions, wind, brass, and strings playing together. So as an extension of private lessons, most students are given opportunities to perform solo, which is fantastic. We have programs that are extra in addition to the regular rehearsal time that are available to string players, such as string quartet playing, and into the wind and brass players, as in the woodwind quintet or the brass quintet.
So one of the great things about the education programs here at the Modesto Symphony is that our students get a chance to perform at the Gallo Center for the Arts and with the professional Modesto Symphony Orchestra and the Modesto Symphony Chorus. It's a really unique opportunity for young musicians to get a chance to perform alongside professionals, and they learn more in that 10 or 15 minutes than they do in many other things all year.
As a musician, I get to sit next to a young player, and we enjoy speaking with them and playing next to them and kind of coach showing them the ropes. And the performance, of course, is the most fun because we're making music with the young people. Both of my own 2 children went through the Modesto Symphony Youth Orchestra program. My daughter went on to become a violin major at Santa Clara University, and I'm sure that her experience in MSYO helped solidify her idea to become a music major. And my son is a violist. He also went through the program and is currently working on his doctorate in viola at University of Southern California. Last year, he was selected by Mr. Lockington to perform with Modesto Symphony, and he performed Concerto for Viola that Mr. Lockington had recently composed. And that was just an amazing experience for my son to get to play with a professional orchestra. Of course, we've talked about the young people, but after it seems like every concert that we have, people from our community who may not have a child or a grandchild in the orchestra, they hear about the concert. They come out to hear the young people play, and they're so thrilled to hear the level of performance that they are able to achieve. And so our community also comes out and enjoys hearing the music that they make.
That is so inspiring.
Yeah. So how do students sign up? Where do they come from? Do they have to audition? Is there a procedure? Do they call you? You put out your telephone number and say, "Hey, just call Caroline."
Well, I've had a few. We do have information on our website, but so our students, they do have to audition, and they audition every year. Even if you were in it last year, it's a good experience for them to audition. You have to learn certain excerpts and scales and show and prepare for an audition, and that's all part of the whole process of learning how to be a professional musician. And so we will have those auditions at the beginning of the season, and then you're accepted into the program. It starts in fall and it runs through spring. And we have actually our first concert this season, after not being together in person, will be on November the 12th, where the youth orchestra gets to perform actually November 13th, Saturday, November 13th at 2 p.m. at the Gallup Center for the Arts on stage.
Wonderful. So what are the, I think you mentioned ages before. Are there age limits for these groups?
Well, yeah, so we do grades 5 through 9 for the concert orchestra, and the symphony orchestra is grades 9 through 12. And it's not that it's so, it has to also do with just the ability to, it's more ability based, but that, we like to have the students in with their peers, and so that, there's a camaraderie there that they also form with each other, and they have this similar knowledge of music usually, and abilities. So
okay. So you heard me talking at the beginning of the program with Linda about her newfound love for the cello. I think she's outside the age limit to apply for this program.
Oh, I'm sure those young people are so much better than I am. But I'll keep practicing.
So our youth orchestra gets to do side by side with the professional musicians. And, we've often talked about, could we ever do something for our community members who are interested?
Oh.
And would they be interested to perform, in an opportunity like that, where maybe you get to, so you never know, Linda, we might be just calling you and seeing if you could fill out our cello section one of these times.
Oh, that sounds exciting. I'd love to.
Speaking of local people, what's the makeup of the orchestra as far as local and not local? And when I first came to town years and years ago, the orchestra had a very large contingent of local musicians. I think that's changed over the year, has it? Or how does that factor into your thinking of who gets hired, that sort of thing?
So our orchestra musicians, they do for the tenured players, they do audition, and it's a blind audition. And so once an orchestra starts to do that and you open it up to auditions, then musicians come from all over, especially if you have a good reputation and they want to be on your list. So we draw a lot of musicians from the Bay Area, and actually they call themselves the Freeway Phil because they spend so much time on the freeway between, our orchestra, Modesto Symphony, maybe Sacramento Phil, Fresno Phil, Santa Rosa, Monterey, Oakland, Berkeley. And so they will perform in a variety of orchestras because these are professional musicians and this is how they earn their living. And we have about a concert weekend a month. And so certainly they need to fill that in with more than just the Modesto Symphony. So our roster of musicians has slowly grown to include more and more musicians that don't live specifically just here. One of the gals who actually was on the video that we saw with the 90th, Val Tisdale, she lives in the Bay Area, but her mother lives in Modesto. And so, we do have musicians who have roots here, but they just might not live here anymore. So.
Okay.
Do all these different orchestras have to get their scheduling all, worked out so that there aren't overlaps?
We try to a little bit, but it doesn't work out perfectly because part of it has to do with our venue availability. So, but certainly that does factor into things because, if you're having a big concert, which requires a lot of brass, and so are 5 other orchestras, you might get a few people having to come from a bit of a distance. So.
Yeah. Okay, so not only the musicians, but the conductors. I saw the name Frank Mancini, who was obviously a local boy when the symphony was formed way back 90 years ago. But since then, you've had a number of conductors come in from the outside. And I understand you're going through that process again, looking for a conductor.
Yes, this is an exciting year to have a music director search. And we have 4 candidates that we're really excited about. And they will all come to Modesto, spend the week here, get to know the community. They've been here once before, but now they get to spend an entire week with us. And they will rehearse with the orchestra and conduct a weekend of concerts with our Modesto Symphony.
Wonderful. And once again, you brought a video introducing us. So let's take a look at who's going to be coming here over the next, how many months? I know the first one's in December.
I think the first one's January. So January. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
This season, the Modesto Symphony Orchestra is excited to introduce the final 4 candidates for our music director search. Each candidate will conduct one of our Classic Series concerts where they will showcase their skill, personality, and musical taste. From these 4, one will be chosen as the next music director who will inspire musicians, collaborate with staff, engage our community, and lead the MSO into the future. First up is Delta David Geyer. Geyer will make his MSO debut this January 7th and 8th with his exciting program of Shostakovich's Symphony No. 5 and Marquez's Espejos en la Arena, performed by cellist Francisco Villa Haas. Geyer is currently the music director of South Dakota Symphony Orchestra. There he established Bridging Cultures, a program based on the belief that music is a universal language that can build communities.
We'll have an opportunity to enact this concept of community building in January when we perform the music of Mexican composer Arturo Marquez with cello soloist Francisco Villa. Also on the program is music of Beethoven and Shostakovich, 2 composers who have been extremely important to me.
Next, on March 4th and 5th, we introduce music director candidate Keitaro Harada. Maintaining a growing international presence throughout North America, Asia, Mexico, and Europe, Harada recently started his tenure as music and artistic director of Savannah Philharmonic and associate conductor of the Tokyo Symphony Orchestra. He will be conducting the MSO in a program that speaks personally to his life experiences, featuring the entertaining Korngold Violin Concerto in D major, performed by Charles Yang, and also Takashi Yoshimatsu's Enchanting Symphony No. 4.
I'm very much looking forward to my visit to Modesto. I've visited once before to spend some time with your staff and to enjoy some fine wine. In my next visit, I really want to seek out what the Modesto Symphony Orchestra means to the community, and also to enjoy the process of music making with your wonderful musicians.
On April 1st and 2nd, conductor Dirk Meyer takes the podium with a program that celebrates music and the sheer joy it provides. Originally from Germany, Meyer currently is the music director of the Augusta Symphony in Georgia and Duluth Superior Symphony Orchestra in Minnesota. Meyer's program opens with Siderius by Osvaldo Golijov. This serves as a calm before the storm that is Prokofiev's energetic Piano Concerto No. 3, performed by pianist Marika Bornacki. The night concludes with Brahms's bold First Symphony.
I am excited for my stay in Modesto and to share some conversation and some laughter together. Hopefully you will enjoy my performance with the orchestra. With Golijov, Prokofiev, and Brahms, we have a great mix of serenity, virtuosity, and sheer joy on the program.
Finally, on May 6th and 7th, music director candidate Paul Haas will lead the Modesto Symphony. Haas currently serves as the music director of the Symphony of Northwest Arkansas and the Thunder Bay Symphony Orchestra in Canada. He also founded Sympho, an organization devoted to the creation and performance of symphonic experiences in untraditional venues. In May, he breaks new ground with Danuk Gujaratne's Concerto for Tabla, performed by Guggenheim Fellow, Silk Road Ensemble member, and Grammy winner Sandeep Das. This driving concerto leads to the emotional finale of Tchaikovsky's fate-filled Fourth Symphony.
I'm really looking forward to coming and visiting Modesto again, to making and sharing music with all of you. Beethoven's Coriolanus Overture, Tchaikovsky's brilliant Fourth Symphony, as well as some of the most intensely beautiful and inspiring music written in the last decade.
Take part in Modesto Symphony's future. Join us this season as the Final Four make their MSO debuts. Attend all 4 Classic Series concerts and tell us what you think about each candidate. Your input matters. For tickets and more information, visit modestosymphony.org and be part of the future of your Modesto Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, this is going to be so great. How will you collect the input then of the audience members that attend all of those 4?
Well, we'll have a survey system where afterwards we'll ask our audience to give us some feedback on the different candidates. And so we'll take that into consideration along with the musicians, interaction, and, the board's very involved, and the music director search committee is very involved, and we have some community members, board members, musicians on the search committee. So this has been a very thoughtful and long process.
So I know you can't answer, but do you have a favorite?
No, actually, I don't. I know you probably don't believe me, do you? But
I don't know. Well, you've looked at a lot of people so far. I believe, before we went on the air, you mentioned that you had over 100 applicants or something, or.
Yeah, we started with 180 applicants, and then, the committee did an amazing job of, narrowing it down. And it was hard because there's a lot of great people out there. But I am very excited about all 4 of these. I think all of them will be just wonderful conductors, and they're all really excited to be coming here. And so I'm really looking forward to these concerts. It's going to be fun.
So how did you narrow it down? What criteria do you use to get from 180 to 4?
Well, we put them in a hat and we close our eyes. No,
you turn your dog loose, right?
Yeah. Well, so the music world is actually a small world, believe it or not. But, with the diversity of our committee, it was really helpful. So, with all our candidates, we kind of sift through their conducting, their music director knowledge, A lot of our musicians know people in the orchestras. We did a lot of reference checks, and like I said, it was really a challenge, but we just really felt like these four stood out, and it was really evident to us that they had the artistic quality that we were looking for, and they had great reviews from their orchestra members for conducting, collaboration, and they were all people who were interested in doing and bringing the orchestra into the community in unique ways, and really connecting with the community and coming up with interesting ways of presenting the symphony, whether it be, bring a chamber ensemble to, the food fair, or whether it do some sort of interactive concert in the hall. And, we're looking for that next level of how we can really engage more of the community and serve the community in a bigger way, and here in this region. So
yeah, I heard that concept mentioned by most of the candidates. So how does that work if they are not from here? Are they planning to spend a fair amount of time here, or
so they would typically come here for, a week of a concert, as well as some other weeks in between when there might be special events and so on. And, this is sort of the nature of the music director. And most of them will have, as you could tell, they all had like one or two other orchestras. So they have more than one orchestra that they work with. And so you might not have them, their full-time attention, but you very much have their full attention. And they're very involved, and that's why there's this administrative staff. We get to take care of all the boring stuff and all the paperwork and spreadsheets, and they get much more involved in creating the music and the vision, and we're here to help bring that to life and to execute it and to have the community benefit from it, from that level of musicianship that they can bring. So it's really a dynamic relationship. And so their relationship with the orchestra itself, as they're making music, and their relationship with the staff and the board is really important, but also how they kind of connect with your community. And when you have a good connection like that, you can see it, and you can see that how people gravitate to what we're able to present as a result.
You mentioned a couple examples of finding new ways to interact in the community. Have you and the board and did some brainstorming about the different kinds of things you could do? I'm interested in hearing about. I mean, like when you talk about putting an ensemble here, or I remember something on TV. What is it, Mozart in the Jungle or something like that? Playing in alleyways, and I don't know. Have you thought about that? What are some of the ideas that we may see in the future?
Oh, sure. Yes, actually, we have a lot of ideas. So one of the things that we did about a year ago, pre-pandemic actually, is we partnered with the Great Valley Museum at MJC, and we brought our youth orchestra ensembles there, and we had a chamber ensemble inside the planetarium, and so you could sit back and watch the stars while there was live music being performed by the youth orchestra violin quartet, and then we also had another ensemble playing inside the museum itself, so you could go through the museum and you would have live music as you were going through the museum. And that was, people loved that. And also it brought people into the museum, so it was like a mutual benefit where we're exposing people to art.
Right, absolutely.
Like what you're doing, right?
Yes,
and so, all these kinds of things we love to do, and we'd love to do more of, and that was just, one example. But we can see ourselves, partnering and being more involved in some of these different areas.
I was thinking of the Modesto Children's Museum that will be opening in, I think, a couple of years. And that would be a really interesting partnership to start out some of these very, very young children with a love of music.
Right. Well, and David, you'll remember this from years ago. You when you were with the photography
right gallery,
we had displays in the lobby during one of our concerts, and how interesting to, if depending what you're performing, to connect that with visual artists and say, what does this music mean to you? And then for the audience to be able to walk through those visuals and listen to the music and see how you interpreted the music. So things like that I think are just fabulous.
They are. So can we expect like a flash mob at the mall or something like that? Have you seen? You've seen those on Facebook and on.
Hard to run with a double bass.
Yeah, you just have to be careful. Some of those instruments are pretty expensive, right? Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Right.
Carla, I was curious about the selections when these 180 applicants made it known that they were interested in being considered. Did they submit selections that they wished to perform, or did that come after you narrowed it down to these 4?
That came after we narrowed it down, but certainly when they, when you put out the job, people will send in conducting videos, sample programs that they've done in the past, the kinds of things that they're interested in pursuing, so that you can see where your connections align and where your similarities and what you're both hoping to, the direction you're both going in. And then once you have your candidates, we try to give them all a very equal playing field, and we'll let them know you have so many musicians, and go ahead and program a concert within certain, be it budgetary or size parameters. And so then they develop what program and pick the pieces and guest artists that they want to work with. And we, pull that together. And so it's interesting also to hear them speak to their own programs as why they put certain pieces together or what those pieces mean to them.
Well, this is going to be a really exciting season.
Right. So speaking of the coming season, we have one last video that you brought, which is what, a trailer or a preview of what we can expect in the coming year. So let's take a look at that. It's a good way to wrap this up. See what we have coming up. And there we have it. Looks like an exciting year. Yeah. So who's your pops director this year?
So we have Ryan Murray, our associate conductor, will be conducting our holiday pops, as he has done for the last few years. And something that we've started just a few years ago is performing a full feature movie with orchestra on stage performing the score. And he has conducted a few of those, and he will do that this year for us as well. And that's where Star Wars will be screening Star Wars with an orchestra on stage. That will be in June of next year. And then we've invited Stuart Chaffetz to come in February for a pop show. And he's been here a few times, and he's a lot of fun, and he's a wonderful conductor. And so we really enjoy it when he comes.
So are you doing a Gallo show next year on the grounds of Gallo?
Yes, that will be next season. So we're hoping everything's back to normal, and we're able to do that. At least, we have our fingers crossed. So.
Yeah. So anyway, any final thoughts? We're coming to the end of the hour, and I've enjoyed.
Could you just tell us a little bit about the Candlelight concert this year?
Yes, we are doing Holiday Candlelight this year, and Daniel Alfonso, our course director, will conduct it. We'll have a smaller chorus, a little bit smaller chorus, and we just will be configuring things that's slightly different. We don't have our youth chorus this year, and we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be beautiful. And so, you know, just to be able to come back and have concerts and connect with people through music, you know, with our musicians, with the audience, there's really nothing like it. And so it's just a joy to be able to say we're going to be on stage again soon.
Right. Yeah. In the last several weeks, I've attended several, what would we call them? Comeback performances, you know, for Opera Modesto, you know, and the Central West Ballet, and in both of those, and actually Prospect Theater too, you know, to have the artistic director come out and just say, "Oh my gosh, it feels so good to be here." You know, even though we've had some success doing some things online, there's nothing like live performance, both for the performers and for the audience. I mean, it's something very special. And boy, it's been a rough year and a half.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And we are looking forward to it, and it's good for everybody. It's good for the musicians, good for the community, the audience. You know, people really, you know, what you get out of a live performance, it's I don't know, it's hard to replicate that anywhere else, but in that moment. I mean, that truly is a unique performance in that moment. It will never be the same. You know, even if you do the same program 2 nights in a row, it's never the same. It's amazing. It's just amazing what they can do. And it's so nice of you to be to highlight this for all the amazing local arts organizations we have here in this area. It's fantastic, and so we appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for giving us this chance, and for giving all of the arts a chance to really be give them this platform to be seen.
Right. Well, I'm a believer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing like you know, encountering art personally and directly. You know, whether it's performing arts or actually visual arts. I mean, to be in the presence of great paintings, to be in the presence of people who are pouring their passion into some kind of artistic expression. It's really special. It moves people. As Ryan said in his introduction to the youth orchestra, you know, that it changes people. They learn from it. They benefit from it. It improves everything in their life to have the artists here. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. It's, I could go on for a long time with this stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for bringing those special videos. Really highlighted the MSO wonderfully. You know,
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure talking with you today.
Yeah.
Thanks to both of you. I've enjoyed this thoroughly, and thanks for showing our videos. And you guys are doing great things here, so thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be at the concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Interesting to see. So, okay. So goodbye for now, and we can end this broadcast.